Hello everybody and welcome to Encounters USA and the Sasquatch Files research team. Today we're going to take a look at an encounter that happened in 1998 near Mount Baker in Washington State. Coming up next. What we want to look at today is an event that happened in 1998 near Mount Baker in Washington State. We were originally going to go to what is called Ape Canyon, where in 1924 there was a hostile encounter between apes and miners. That didn't turn out too well for the miners, but due to the reality of Seattle traffic, we couldn't make that trip, and here's why. Now, one of the hazards of Sasquatching and chasing Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest is the terrible Seattle traffic. Now, one of the reasons we didn't go south today was because if you get caught in traffic coming up from the Portland-Tacoma area, you can spend 8 hours in the Seattle traffic in one day just trying to reach Seattle. It's a real nightmare here, and it's not getting any better. Part of the Bigfoot narrative is the overdevelopment of the Pacific Northwest and all these people who come here who have no respect for the environment, for people, or for Squatchy himself. They're just here to make a buck and destroy the environment. And so it's terrible for everybody. So if you're thinking to come to Seattle, don't do it. Look at this nightmare we live in. After realizing we were just not going to have the time to make it to Ape Canyon, we changed our mind and decided to head north on Highway 20, which is prime habitat for Sasquatch. So the plan was to go up Highway 20 and head for Baker Lake near Mount Baker. Once we reached the vicinity of Baker Lake and Mount Baker, we decided we would canvass the local inhabitants and see if there was any Sasquatch activity. And once we'd asked a few people, we found something startling about the town, and so we filed this report. All right, so we are now in Concrete, Washington, and we are on the trail of a Bigfoot sighting that happened in 1998. Now, one thing that we've noticed about the town of Concrete is they really seem bent on hushing up any evidence about Bigfoot. In fact, what they're trying to do is hide any concrete evidence of any sightings. But we did manage to find one person who wanted to talk to us, and they said they'd meet us here at this cafe at 12 o'clock. Having not received any help from the town, we decided to go ahead and investigate the 1998 sighting ourselves. So we headed up to Grady Lake, which is near Baker Lake, near Mount Baker. In 1998, there was a Bigfoot encounter right here, near Grady Lake in Washington State. Now, what exactly happened was there was a group of campers just sitting next to their campsite, enjoying the evening. It was about August, so the temperature was a little bit warm. While these campers were sitting here enjoying the evening, they started to hear noises in the background. And these were not normal noises. According to the report, they were the typical Bigfoot noises that you hear during an encounter. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to recreate exactly what happened and what we think our Squatchy friend was doing in the background. When we arrived at what we could best determine was the site of the encounter, we saw that it was an ideal setting. It was a perfectly warm temperature. The air was crisp and clean, and it just made you want to sit back and relax in something comfortable and have a nice beverage.
So while the campers were enjoying their evening here by Grandy Lake, they began to hear noises in the background coming from somewhere in that direction. So the first thing that they did was they focused their attention that way. Then they began to look and see what was over there. But the noises didn't stop. They continued. And at that point, these campers began to get really suspicious and almost afraid as to what could be lurking out in those woods. The noise didn't stop. So they decided to go ahead, pack their stuff up, and head for the truck.
It was obvious to see that the campers that night would have been completely startled in such ideal settings, and then suddenly to have a Bigfoot creature start to make these horrible noises. I think I would have got in my truck too.
So it ended up with the campers spending the rest of the night inside their truck, too afraid to go out and be subjected to whatever old Squatchy had in store for them. So they stayed there all night, or at least until the danger subsided. And so that was the Grandy Lake Bigfoot Encounter of 1998.
By the time we had actually recreated this event and got a better understanding of what happened on that night, August 9th of 1998, near Grady Lake, on a lonely logging road, we came to understand more about what these encounters do to people and why they are so important to document on places like Encounters USA. So remember,
if you like this, please subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, when you're out in the woods, remember, always watch your back.